Hello, good morning everyone. Well, it is morning when you're watching this. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Olamide. I am first year medical student, just kind of documenting my journey, not just in medical school, but like really just whatever I do throughout this life, honestly. Usually, or at least the past few weeks, I've been posting a lot of weekly vlogs, but truth of the matter is I didn't vlog this week. It's honestly been a pretty busy week. I have an exam coming up and I've just been in the books, so no vlog this week, but I thought I would just kind of switch it up and just do more of like a sit down video. Because, I think one thing that is interesting about weekly vlogs is that you can spend a whole week with somebody, but I feel like you still don't really know what they're thinking, like how they're feeling, where their mind is at. You get so caught up in just like the actual actions that they're doing. So I think it's important to kind of mix up some vlogs with just like a good sit down, like let's talk, let's chat, like how are you doing, how are you really doing type of thing. So that's kind of what I wanted to get into today. It has been a little bit hard for me because in my last video I was talking about like starting the endocrine block and how much of a doozy it's going to be, because it's endocrine, reproduction, and gastrointestinal system. It's a lot of information that's going to be on this exam. It's like super content heavy, and I've been truthfully, I've been like pretty overwhelmed by the massive information. It's nothing, none of it is hard. None of it is like conceptually hard to understand. It's just like so much that I need to know that I feel kind of worried. And honestly, I recently kind of had my first failure of medical school. If you go back to that vlog that I was referring to, I was talking about how I just finished my exam, and like my written exam I did really well. And like a written exam is just like you have your iPad, you just gotta click A, B, C, or D. But I also had my anatomy practical, which I said like I wasn't gonna find out the score of it for about a week or two. Well, I found out my score, and I actually ended up failing by one question. Yeah, I failed by one question, and it definitely struck a chord. I was just like, damn. I saw that score and I was like, oh. And what hurts is like my professor kind of stressed like, oh, this is probably going to be like your easiest practical, like you better do well type of thing, because it's downhill from here kind of vibes. And I don't know if that got to me, or like I don't know. I honestly don't really know, but I did not do well. I didn't do well, and it kind of made me feel pretty defeated. And once I got that score back, I just like didn't feel like recording. I didn't feel like vlogging. And I don't really like the way that I handled that failure, because for me at first I was like, let's talk about how I handled it. So first I was like, all right, kind of went through my stages of grief, and I was like, oh, damn, that sucks, but we got to keep moving. And then for me, when I got to keep moving, I think I grinded pretty hard, but I wasn't holistic in my grind. I was like in the books. I'd wake up at 6:30, study till like 10 o'clock, it feels like. But in that time, I wasn't, going to the gym. I wasn't talking to my family. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't even going to church. Like, I felt like I was so committed to like understanding the information and the conversation that I really neglected just like the basic things, like the simple things that I always kind of turn to in those moments of sadness. It's like I tried to create a new solution for me to combat that grief. In reality, I should have stuck to the things that were currently working for me, which was exercise, talking to family, going to church, and along that, changing up my study approach. So I think that I've been feeling really burnt out because I'm trying so hard to not let that failure happen again. And that kind of brings me to like what I titled this video, which is my anxious thoughts. And I got that from actually church today. That was the name of the service, and it was really good. They started this series about anxiety and depression, and I was like, oh, this is great for me, because I'm a ball of anxiety like leading into this exam week, and I really could I just really wanted to hear somebody else kind of talk about it. There were two parts of that service that kind of stuck out to me. The first part, so the pastor was kind of talking about this in his job. He was writing a report. I don't want to get into too much of the details, but, writing a report for work, and it did really, really well. It got like a lot of praises, and he kind of like had his head big and like really, really happy about it. And then somebody kind of warned him. It was like, don't let that one report, that one good report, bring you so high. Because when you get that one bad report, it's going to bring you just as low. And oh man, that, my friends, was a bar. Letting that, like, one comment, like if somebody left a comment on a video and it was like, made me feel really good, like, I can't let that comment make me feel so good, like make it be like the highlight of my week, make me feel so like good about myself, because the comment right after that might be something not as positive, might be something kind of negative, and that will bring me down. That will make me feel really bad about myself. That's going to make me question, my abilities, and that's just going to put me down into that spiral that I was in again. So it's like kind of being able to find that balance with feedback and comments and interactions, conversations with people. Like, don't get so emotional, either good emotional or bad emotional. Like, at least that's what I was getting from it, is like really really being able to receive feedback in a way where it will not shake me towards any spectrum. It may like move me one way or another, but I can't let it push me. I can't let it shove me to one end of the spectrum. So I thought that was a really cool message. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about that he discussed today is, what was the line? It was a good line. Fight your thoughts with God's truths. Man, fight your thoughts with God's truths. How I relate that to my situation of my exam is like, okay, I failed the exam by 1 point, and then I start thinking like, wow, like, am I smart? Why am I not capable of doing this? Like, why am I terrible at med school? Why did I have to fail? Like, kind of just really being so negative towards myself. And it just wasn't a healthy method. Like, I just took that one score. The score literally doesn't mean anything, but I interpreted it really negatively. And it's like, why do we do that? Why do we just like let a comment, a statement, a score just make us think so much about ourselves? Like, none of that defines us. And that's just so crazy to me, is that so many of us just let it kind of break us. I let it break me. It's crazy. It's like I almost need to fail more, fail at more things, so that I can like handle adjusting myself to make things even better than they were before. Because failure is never a bad thing, honestly. Like, you really learn a lot from your failures, because now it's like there's some things I will never do again because I know it did not work for me. I just want to sit down and talk about it, about my anxious thoughts. Oh man, and I didn't even get to the end of this, but at the end of the service, he kind of gave us all this little note whiteboard thing, had a magnet on the back, and he wanted us to write down one of our anxious thoughts, and then just like kind of put it on the wall with all the other anxious thoughts. I thought that was super neat. I like that a lot. At first, immediately, I wanted to just say like med school. Like, I literally just want to write med school. That's my anxious thought. That's it. But it really goes really deeper than that. And I was trying to challenge myself to like kind of not necessarily get to the root of it, but just like kind of peel the layers as much as I could. And it's like, why does med school make me anxious? What about it is making me anxious? Like, so many people do this. Why do I feel so much anxiety because of it? And when it comes down to it, and what I ended up actually writing down is the fact that I fear, or my anxious thought is that I have worked so hard to come so far in life, like with me, like setting goals, accomplish them, being a go-getter, being really ambitious, that my anxious thought that is like, in the end, I feel like I'm gonna disappoint people, or I'm gonna disappoint myself. Like, I'm just gonna end up being a disappointment. And I think that's why that exam score really made me like grind so hard, like almost too hard in my books, because that's really why I fear failure. I just feared the disappointment. And in reality, it's kind of like a crazy thought and almost irrational. In one end, I'm saying like, oh, I've come so far, I've accomplished so much just to become a failure, just to become a disappointment. Like, I've made so many people proud. I've made myself proud so many times that I shouldn't always feel fearful about disappointing people in what comes next, because they're already so proud of, and I'm already so proud of who I am now. And it kind of comes back to just like really appreciating who you are in the moment and not being so fearful about what comes next. Because those fearful thoughts, like they're not real, you know? Like I'm creating these thoughts. I'm creating this negative mindset for myself. So I don't know. So I guess that's like where all of this really stems from. My ambition when things go well and my ambition when things go wrong, it's like my strength, but also becomes my weakness. Like, why am I the way that I am? And it's like, for some reason, I just fear feeling like a disappointment to people. Like, that's why I like have a hard time saying no to people when people ask me to do something, or having a fear of like doing it wrong or being critiqued. I just don't want to disappoint others. And in reality, just because people critique you or people have a comment or a score isn't what you wanted it to be, that doesn't make you any less than. It's just literally a result of my actions. It doesn't necessarily mean that I need to change it, or like I'm any less than, or I'm not, or I need to change something. It just is. It is what it is. I don't know. It is what it is. That's just what I'm feeling this week. I'm not even sure if I'll post this because a lot of this just kind of felt like a diary, and it was really not scripted at all. I'm literally just in my car. So, but I don't know, how's your week going? What are some of your anxious thoughts? And I challenge you, you don't even have to type it in the comment below. Unless you want to, go for it. Like, this is an open space. But if something that comes to mind is like work, school, you know, go a little bit deeper than that. Like, why is it that your work makes you anxious? Why is it that school is making you anxious? Why is it that whatever goal that you're kind of reaching right now, where is that anxiety coming from? Yeah, what a day. So I'm gonna just wrap this up and go and study. I'm actually having lunch with my friends. Gonna have a little bit of self-care before going out and studying. But yeah, I have my exam next week for endocrine, GI, and repro. So please wish me luck. This is such a huge exam, and there's so much content, and I'm definitely trying to do what I need to do to succeed here. But yeah, it's definitely been raising my nerves a little bit, but it's okay. I just have to fight my thoughts with God's truth. And with that, I hope that you have a really wonderful day. If you made it all the way to this part of the video, like, thank you. That is just so sweet. I feel really honored, honestly, that you would even make it this far. So I just want to let you know that I really appreciate those who like take that time to watch my videos and kind of get to know a little bit more about me. And, you know, if you want to, definitely comment something down below. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're listening. Maybe a yellow heart. If you made it this far, send me a yellow heart. That'd be nice. But with that said, have a great day. And, yeah, you're doing a great job. I'm doing a great job. And it's fine. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week with whatever I come out with, hopefully a vlog. But have a great day. All right? Bye.